Hello and welcome back to Evo India. The 2025 EICMA show is shaping out to be an absolute great time for us motorcyclists because banger after banger of motorcycles have been coming out. Latest is Ducati with the new Hypermotard V2. Now in the last year, Ducati has been on a spree of converting their outgoing range of motorcycles, especially those using the Testa Strata engine, the 937cc engine, to the 890 V2 engine that was unveiled last year. It started off with the Multistrada, then the Street Fighter and the Panigale V2. We recently got the Monster, and now finally the Hypermotard V2 gets this new 890cc engine. With it, it gets a completely new redesign. Now on the design front, it is very distinctively Hypermotard, but at the same time, if you look at the headlights, the DRL shapes, the DRL signatures are a little different. They're a little more curvy, but that doesn't mean that the design isn't sharp, because everything else, all the cuts and creases are present and accounted for. All the iconic elements that make a Hypermotard special, especially the tall, slim design, the two exhausts at the rear, all of those are still there, but it has now come into a new generation. Now this Hypermotard is special because it comes exactly 20 years after the very first one was unveiled at the EICMA show 20 years back. Now this is also the most advanced Hypermotard. Now at one end of the spectrum you have the 698 mono, which is essentially based on the one cylinder bank of the 1299 Panigale. This is a new engine. Now the Hypermotard 950, great bike, no complaints, a lot of fun, a proper hyper supermotard, but it was on the heavier side, close to 200 kilos wet with a full tank of gas. This on the other hand is 14 kilos lighter with the SP variant, and it also makes close to 6 bhp more power. That means a significantly better power to weight ratio, and with a motorcycle that was already as manic as the 950, you can only imagine what this 890 is going to be. Let me give you a few quick specs. Now, like always, like is Ducati tradition, there are two variants to choose from. There's the standard variant and the V2 SP. Now the standard variant gets most of the features that the V2 SP does, but the SP benefits from a few trick components, a much higher specification. That's why the SP name. So let's run down what's common. You have the new 890cc that I already told you about. That makes 118.3 bhp at 10,750 rpm and 94 newton meters of torque at 8,250 rpm. I've ridden this engine in the Multistrada V2, and that was a big revelation because unlike other Ducatis, especially the 937 Testa Stratas, it wasn't as peaky. Yes, it did have good top end power, but the low and the mid range was just as potent, which is something you couldn't really say about the previous Ducatis. Now that was with a heavier flywheel. This will definitely have a lighter flywheel and it will rev much quicker. So popping wheelies, sliding out of corners, all of that is definitely going to be possible. The bike's not going to be the problem, you as the rider might be. I know for a fact I will be the problem when it comes to that. Okay, apart from that, you have a new monocoque frame design. Ducati seems to be shifting all of their bikes towards that monocoque frame, which has been working very, very well for them in the Panigale V4 and the Multistrada V4. Now, apart from that, the standard variant, it gets 46 mm Kayaba forks, fully adjustable at the front, and a Kayaba monoshock at the rear. You get Brembo M50 calipers at the front, 180 kilos curb weight, which makes it roughly 13 kilos lighter than the standard Hypermotard 950. It also gets the latest generation of Ducati electronics, so that is wheelie control, cornering ABS, cornering traction control. You get Ducati Quick Shift 2.0, engine brake control, a pit lane limiter, launch control, and all of that. You also have a new 5-inch color TFT screen along with a new joystick to control all of that. You get LED lighting, as I said, and the standard V2, it gets a lead acid battery. Now the SP, it takes all the good stuff from the V2 and builds on that with a 48mm Ohlins NIX30 fully adjustable front fork and an Ohlins STX 46 fully adjustable monoshock at the rear. Now you get forged aluminum wheels on the SP instead of the cast alloy wheels on the standard bike. That also aids in the weight reduction. Now speaking of weight, it is 177 kilos for the Hypermotard V2 SP. Now Ducati in recent years has been giving wet weight without fuel, so this is 177 kilos without fuel, but all of the fluid stopped. That makes it 14 kilos lighter than the 950. Now another difference on the SP versus the standard one is the battery. This uses a lithium ion battery. Again, that's where the weight savings comes from. And again, being that this is the SP variant, is going to be tracked more often, it also gets better tires. Now the standard variant, that gets Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4 tires. The V2 SP gets the same Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4s, but the Corsa iteration of these tires, a little more grippy, a little more fun for the racetrack. Apart from that, you also get a carbon fiber front fender, and you get their anniversary Ducati livery for the SP. That's again something that's always differentiated the standard variant and the SP variant. So there's a lot going on in this motorcycle. Now one thing, like with the Panigale V4, the 7th generation Panigale V4, that I feel people will not like is the double-sided swing arm, but that is a design element that has really grown on me, and I think it might on you too. And it really doesn't matter, considering that the motorcycle should be incredibly fun to ride. And again, like all the motorcycles you've spoken about up until now, I really cannot wait to get my hands on this one. Now, what do you think about the Ducati Hypermotard V2 and the V2 SP? Which one is your pick? Do you think it's the right direction for the Hypermotard? Let us know in the comment section down below, and thank you for watching.